Hi, I'm Reagan.
And I'm Bailey, and you're listening to
Graveyard Gossip.
Reagan,
Bailey,
we didn't talk last week. It was crazy.
we
Wait,
did it?
No, we did talk. We didn't do an episode.
My
bad.
I was like, we didn't talk. No, we didn't. It felt weird. I had a lot of people asking me what happened, but if you follow our social media,
You would have known.
you would have known.
That the dead have to sleep, rest, R.I.P. And we needed to spend some time with our family, and
There was too much going on.
Holidays, man. They're killer. I'm so glad it's over.
Yeah. I work tomorrow, and then
Same.
I'm off until Friday.
I wish. I work tomorrow, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, possibly Saturday.
Okay. Well,
I do find out tomorrow if I got that remote job, though.
really? I was talking to
Yes.
Chad about that yesterday. I didn't know. I needed to ask you. So when was your interview?
Monday. That we came back from Tulsa.
I'm jealous. I need to find a remote job.
Okay. Sidetracked. Here we go. All right, Reagan. So when I was looking at this story, I thought about you the whole time. Because I know how you feel about our shitty ass justice system. And
Oh,
this one is gonna be a kicker.
Great.
Okay? It's gonna be great. Alrighty. So today's story is gonna be about Jeremy Bryan Jones, born on April 12th, 1973 in Miami, Oklahoma. Not Miami. Miami. Okay? He was the oldest of two boys. In the late 1970s, Jeremy's parents divorced, his mother remarried, but the family was nevertheless considered a stable one. So, normal people, blue collar, doing okay.
Okies.
Yes, common Okies. Due to his stepfather's work as a carpenter, the Joneses were considered a relatively well-off family. So, like I said, blue collar, doing okay. Jeremy himself showed signs of antisocial and aggressive behavior from an early age. Just didn't want to talk to people.
Same.
He was beating animals.
Oh, never mind.
Not the same, babe. Wouldn't play nice with other kids. There was always an issue. So the neighbors avoided interacting with him a lot, and they wouldn't let their kids play with him. So he was like a recluse, like did not leave his house, starting from a young age. Just didn't, like I said, antisocial, don't be around people. He also didn't care about his academic achievements, and was frequently disciplined for truancy and low grades. So in the late 1980s, he developed an addiction to alcohol and began using drugs. So that's like 12, 13 years old. He was young.
Dang, okay.
Using drugs and alcohol, okay? And by the end of 1989, he was expelled from the Miami High School. He then briefly attended the Quapaw High School nearby Quapaw, Oklahoma.
Quapaw?
Quapaw.
I don't think I've ever heard of that.
Me either. Okay. But as he preferred to spend his time on the streets, Jeremy was eventually expelled in 1991 from Quapaw High School, shortly before the end of 12th grade. So he never graduated high school.
Does it say like what he was expelled for or no?
Just being aggressive with other students was like from different articles. What I kept picking up was he was just
a dick,
just a bad
like
kid.
a bully.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure the drugs and alcohol really did not help that.
That's true. Yeah.
In January 1990, Jeremy was arrested for assaulting a boy. During the incident, his own mother attempted to protect the victim, but was herself beaten as well.
Holy shit! He was beating up another boy.
Beating up another boy who was like 19 years old at the time. Boy is also 19 years at the time. And his mom tries to go and protect this boy because she can see her son as a raging lunatic.
Aww.
And then she ends up getting beaten as well.
That sucks. I feel bad for his mom.
He was then charged with 2 counts of assault, but they were eventually dropped after his mom and the boy reconciled with Jeremy. I shall continue.
Okay.
Utilizing his charisma, Jeremy was considered popular among the young women in his hometown, with whom he had sexual intercourse with several times.
He was a bad boy.
I don't know why the sexual intercourse was listed, but it was in literally every single motherfucking article. Why are we talking about Jeremy getting his rocks off? I don't know.
His rocks off.
I had to go with some like 80s slang for all you old
Some
people out
oaky
there.
slang.
You're not old. You're golden. In early 1992, Jeremy left Miami with one of his girlfriends and moved to Baxter Springs, Kansas, where he lived with a high school friend named Justin Judd. As he had no formal education, he resorted to working in a low-skill labor, which was like construction for a period of time. He was an electrician for a period of time. But then him and his girlfriend started to experience financial hardship because he could not hold a steady job with steady pay.
Mm-hmm.
It was listed that they frequently argued in front of Jeremy's high school friend Justin. So Justin was a witness to all of this toxicity between their relationship. One night, Jeremy ended up assaulting his girlfriend. Justin had to frequently call the police, and this time he called. He was telling Jeremy that this was the last time he was going to lay his hands on another woman, and he needed to get the fuck out of his house.
Good
basically, point blank period.
Mm-hmm.
But the night that he did beat his girlfriend, there were no charges.
What?
She didn't file charges after he beat the living shit out of her.
What year was this?
1992. He spent the night in jail, went back home to live with his buddy Justin. Because his girlfriend did not talk to him. Like, I don't know if he was just like that good of a smooth talker or what. But this is the third time that he doesn't have charges filed against him for beating the shit out of somebody.
What the fuck? Okay. And the cops are involved. Okay.
On May 9th of the same year, 1992, Justin Judd, Jeremy's roommate, married his girlfriend Jennifer, whom he had known since high school. So they were high school sweethearts. The girlfriend was living with Justin and Jeremy in their house, so Jeremy was around her quite often. 2 days after their wedding, an intruder, quotation marks, broke into their home while Justin was away, bound Jennifer, and proceeded to stab her multiple times. After the autopsy, it shows that Jennifer's body was raped post-mortem.
It's not funny.
It's not.
Oh my god. What a fucking sicko.
An intruder, quotation. During the investigation, Jeremy was named as a suspect based on the testimony of Justin, who claimed that he was interested in her. Hint, hint, the raping post-mortem. Jeremy insisted that he was innocent, and since there was no credible evidence to charge him, he was released. No charges were filed. Time number 4.
That one kind of makes sense just because, like, there's no evidence.
But you don't think, like, they would have found, like, any kind of DNA on her body? Stabbing her multiple times and then raping her.
Well, yeah, I mean, if he used a condom. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's disappointing. Mm-hmm. After the murder of Jennifer Judd, Jeremy broke up with his girlfriend. They were still dating. After he beat the shit out of her. He left Baxter Springs, Kansas, and began to live a criminal lifestyle. During this period, he changed places several times, earned a living as a day laborer, and occasionally committed petty thefts. Stealing somebody's wallet, pickpocketing, random ass things. On November 5th, 1995, so 3 years later, Jeremy was arrested for rape, but was released after posting bail and fled. The name of the woman was not released. We're at 5 right now.
Oh my god! Okay.
Between November 1995 and January 1996, he committed 2 additional crimes. On January 10th, 1996, he was arrested in Oklahoma on charges of rape and unlawful possession of methamphetamine. During the investigation, police were contacted by a woman who claimed that Jeremy had assaulted her at gunpoint. He was subsequently convicted of the drug possession charge and sentenced to 2 years in prison, which he served at the Dick Connor Correctional Center in Hominy. So he was sent to jail for drugs, not for raping the fucking women.
Because there is no evidence.
Mm-hmm.
What the fuck? Clearly, if this, like, can we not just, like, start looking at people's fucking records? This is the 90s. It's there.
They would have known. Yeah, it might have been on paper, but it's there.
Digital.
Yeah. I don't know if they were using them computers all that good back in 1995. I wasn't around.
We have a lot of 1995 people that are pissed off.
I promise you're not old. I just didn't know how it was. I was born 6 years later. I'm so sorry.
What did you say earlier? It's not old. It's gold.
You're golden.
You're golden.
Right for the taking. That sounded inappropriate. Never mind. Especially with the story. Yikes. Oh my goodness, my bad. He was granted parole and released in early 1997, but was soon taken into custody over the rapes.
Okay.
So we're getting somewhere.
Okay.
During his trial, Jeremy was on the advice of his attorney to plead guilty on 3 counts of assault and sexual harassment. His victims refused to appear in court, so their testimonies were thrown out. On March 3rd, 1997, Jeremy was placed on probation for 5 years and released from the courthouse. We're on time number 6.
Mm-hmm.
However, as he was diagnosed with a mental impairment, he was placed on the psychiatric registry, ordered to see a psychiatrist regularly, and to give DNA samples once a year. But Jeremy refused to comply with the court orders and to
Yes, my Emma's getting to you.
Jeremy was refused to comply with court orders and continued to commit crimes. In 2000, he became a suspect in 2 additional rapes, due to which his probation was revoked and a warrant was issued for his arrest. Upon leading up to this, Jeremy left Oklahoma and moved to Joplin, Missouri. Very pretty place. Recommend you go. Where he met a woman in a bar whose son, John Paul Chapman, was serving a sentence at a state prison in Missouri. Did I repeat myself? Jeremy said bar. Meets a sexy little thing of a woman. Okay. This woman has a son who's in prison for doing naughty things.
And his name is what?
John Paul Chapman.
Okay, that sounds familiar. But
we talked about it yesterday.
Oh, okay, that's what it is. Okay.
John Paul Chapman. With his charisma, Jeremy won her affection and sympathy and moved in with her. What? Sometime after.
Sympathy? Excuse me, what the fuck?
I don't know what.
Yeah, I
sympathy.
was in prison because, like, for drug charges.
You don't
but
understand me.
But what the fuck?
OSCN was a thing in 2000.
It was.
So sometime afterwards, he persuaded the woman to sell him her son's papers and social security card for $50. After which, he stole the man's identity and left the state in December 2000.
For $50?
$50. And probably some dick. Oop. Okay. So he's stolen this kid's identity, who's currently in prison, and Jeremy Bryan Jones is now going by John Paul Chapman. So, under the name of Chapman, Jeremy moved to Tuscaloosa, Alabama, where he lived for 2 years before financial difficulties caused him to move to Georgia. On May 1st, 2003, he was at the Gibson's Restaurant and Lounge bar in Douglasville, where he met Vicki Freeman, who was 13 years older than him.
Okay.
He has a way with women, let me tell ya.
Was he at least attractive?
I'll show you his picture.
Oh, no. Okay.
We'll post a picture. The two soon became roommates, frequently changing places of residence and jobs over the following 2 years. Bitch, they were not roommates. They was fucking.
There's a lot of things on this episode that need to be on t-shirts.
They weren't roommates, they were fucking. So, in October 2003, I was 2. Jeremy was arrested for disorderly conduct and taken to police station, where his fingerprints were run through IFIS. Finally. However, due to a glitch in the system, his true identity was not revealed, and when his fingerprints were entered a second time, he was falsely identified as John Paul Chapman. So he's getting away.
What the fuck?
With this stolen identity.
But this is...
Like, my thing is, yes, they identified him as John Paul Chapman, but wouldn't they be able to see that the real John Paul Chapman is serving time in a state prison?
Oh, yeah, because he's still in prison.
He's still in prison in 2003. He didn't get out until 2007. I checked.
And this is... Where did they run his fingerprints? Where was that at?
This was in Georgia. So he's been identified as John Paul Chapman. So after paying the administrative fine, Jeremy was released and left Georgia to seek work, spending several weeks in New Orleans, Louisiana. In late January 2004, he returned to Georgia, where he was soon arrested in Atlanta for trespassing. He pleaded guilty and was sentenced to 3 months imprisonment in the county jail and released in March 2004. Like, I don't know why he just keeps getting released on these things. Leave that man in jail.
Clearly. I mean, but then again, this is a different state. He's hopping around.
Mm-hmm.
And states back then didn't really talk. I mean, they still kind of don't now, but it's an ego thing back then.
For real. So soon after his release, Jeremy reunited with Freeman, his roommate, Vicky. They were doing the horizontal tango.
The one with the son.
This Vicky Freeman is the woman that's 13 years older than him.
Yeah, I thought. Isn't her son?
No. The woman he met in the bar.
Yeah.
Miss Chapman. Her first name wasn't released.
Oh, this isn't the same person.
No.
Oh.
Bro.
Okay. You lost me somewhere in there. But yeah.
Jeremy stole Miss Chapman's son's identity. He fled. Met Vicky Freeman.
Yes.
In another state. Georgia.
Yeah.
Yes. She's 13 years older than him.
Okay, got it.
Okay. So he reunites with Vicky, and he found work as a day laborer, but was arrested for drug possession in June of 2004. He again pleaded guilty, and due to the court's leniency, he was given another 3 months at the county jail. So upon his release in early September, he left Georgia and headed for Alabama, where there was desperate need to repair buildings in cities across the state because it had recently been hit by Hurricane Ivan. So on September 15, 2004, he's recently released from the county jail for the second time. And Jeremy arrived in Turnerville, Alabama, a small community near Satsuma, where he had been hired to do some construction renovations for Mark and Kim Bentley. He's still acting like he's John Paul Chapman. He informed Mark that he was looking for work in housing, where Mark offered that he could stay in the trailer with his cousin, Scooter Coleman, shortly afterwards. Shortly after their meeting, so that he could get started on the construction for the house. The Bentleys and their children left to visit some friends in Chickasha. Early the next day, Jeremy phoned Kim Bentley and said that he needed some batteries and a radio, where Kim informed him that he could find them in the bedroom closet, but he needed to get the help of her cousin, Scooter Coleman, to find the things. She didn't trust Jeremy going through her house and digging around and things like that. Good woman. So according to Scooter's later testimony, Jeremy found a .25 caliber handgun in the closet and ended up keeping it because he felt that he needed to protect himself from the people that were looting around houses after the hurricane. Later that evening, the Bentleys returned home. On the days afterwards, everyone started doing repairs in the backyard, and when they were suddenly visited by 43-year-old Lisa Marie Nichols, a neighbor who had recently returned to Turnerville after waiting for Hurricane Ivan to pass, Jeremy overheard a conversation she had with the Bentleys that she was single and living alone. Unfortunate. That same evening, he went to the home of another neighbor, Chris Hill, where the two men drank alcohol and consumed drugs for several hours. On September 17th, so he's only been in Turnerville for 2 motherfucking days, everyone was doing repairs in the backyard again, and by the evening, Kim Bentley left her husband and Jeremy a package containing several cans of Bud Light beer and left home with her children. At the same time, Scooter, the cousin of the Bentleys, also left to visit a friend named Joel Edge. A couple of hours later, Mark Bentley finished the repairs, after which the former left to go to a fast food restaurant. So Jeremy's left at the Bentley's house by himself. Unsupervised.
Even though that's not what
the wife wanted. She didn't know that her husband was leaving him by himself. And
I would have been fucking pissed, but yeah.
The nearest open restaurant at the time was Hardee's in Cintronell, about a 30-minute drive from the Bentley home. And accounting for the queue, because there was just a hurricane, it took Mark 2 hours to get there instead of just 30 minutes. So we have this big window of time for Jeremy to fuck some shit up. So after all the occupants have left, Jeremy took the handgun and a package of Bud Light beers and went to Lisa Marie's house, the next door neighbor, 43-year-old single woman living alone.
Mm-hmm.
He broke in and raped her at gunpoint, ultimately shooting her 3 times with a handgun. Yeah. In an attempt to destroy evidence, he returned to Mark's house and took a gas container, which he brought back with him, to Lisa Marie's house. He placed her corpse in the bathtub, dousing her whole body in gasoline, and lit it on fire. He then returned to the Bentley house, changed clothes, and took a shower and waited for the others to return.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Holy fuck. What kind of, one, fucking sicko in general, just doing what he did. But during a fucking hurricane, like
When
that,
everybody,
yeah. Like everybody, they just lost everything. And here you okay.
So later that evening, Mark Bentley had heard noises through his open window and smelled the gasoline. While looking around the yard, he found Jeremy with 4 cans of gasoline, and then he asked Jeremy what he did with the fuel, if he needed it for an overnight drive around town or something, because Jeremy had been talking about taking a drive out in the open air and looking at all the other houses that had been destroyed. Mark refused to go with him and give him more gasoline to drive around, quote unquote drive around. And he had grown suspicious of Jeremy, after which both the men went to bed. So the next day, Lisa Marie's daughter, Jennifer Murphy, and Amber Nichols, as well as the son-in-law, Todd McCurchie, arrived in Turnerville, informing Kim that Lisa had failed to show up for work and was not answering their phone calls. So they showed up to her house with one of their husbands, Lisa Marie's son-in-law, and there's no electricity in the house because of Hurricane Ivan.
Yeah.
So Todd, one of the daughter's husband, started searching around with the flashlight when he discovered Lisa Marie's charred remains in the bathtub.
Oh my God.
So Todd and both of Lisa Marie's daughters then went to the Bentley's house and told them to call the police. While Todd, Mark Bentley, and another neighbor named Scott continued to inspect the house to understand what had happened. During this time, they noticed that Jeremy was acting weirdly, expressing no emotion upon hearing of a dead body being discovered and refusing to cooperate with the Mobile County Sheriff's Department during the interviews. So he had no sympathy,
No
empathy,
remorse,
nothing. So while officers were investigating the house, they found 3 .25 caliber bullets lodged into the wall. When questioned, Mark admitted to having a gun of the same caliber and gave it to police. So before Jeremy left, he must have put the gun back in the closet.
In the wall?
3 bullet holes found in the wall. Like, I wonder if he raped her and she tried to get up and run away.
And he started shooting.
Shot her.
God.
Investigators determined from the smell of gunpowder, soot residue, and bullet casings that the gun had been fired recently. And when sent for an examination, it was revealed to be the murder weapon. The Bentleys and their cousin Coleman were brought in for questioning, and that is whenever Coleman, the cousin, claimed that the gun had been stolen by the man he knew as Chapman.
So they're gonna get him now.
Please hold.
Oh God.
A search of the rooms led to the discovery of an empty Bud Light beer can with fingerprints on it that the investigators believed were used by the killer. After Kim Bentley told the police that Chapman and her husband had drunk Bud Light on the day of the murder, Chapman was included as a suspect and sought for questioning. But he'd already been up and out of there.
Oh no.
But he was arrested in the early morning hours of September 21st, 2004 in Mobile, Alabama.
Where'd they find him?
Mobile, Alabama. He was in Turnerville.
Oh, okay.
Went Mobile.
Okay. Went back to Mobile.
Yes.
Okay.
While searching for him, the Mobile County Sheriff's Department relayed their known information to neighboring states, after which the Missouri Attorney General's office notified them that their suspect had the same birth date and social security number as someone serving time at a prison in their jurisdiction.
Mm-hmm.
The stolen identity is coming
Mm-hmm.
out. Sheriffs went to interview the real John Paul Chapman, and afterwards his mother revealed that she had sold her son's identity to a man named Jeremy Bryan Jones.
For $50.
$50. I don't know how you were that hard pressed for $50
For
back
50
then.
fucking bucks. Oh my god.
After learning of this, they obtained fingerprint samples from the Miami Police Department dating from Jeremy's 1990 arrest, conclusively establishing that he was his true identity, Jeremy Bryan Jones.
Good.
Jeremy initially insisted that he was innocent, but after forensic tests confirmed that Lisa Nichols was killed with the Bentley's handgun and the fingerprints in the beer can were his, he amended his claims and admitted responsibility.
Wow.
He then claimed that he did while under the influence of methamphetamines,
Oh
but
my
went on
god.
to change his testimony several more times.
What the fuck?
There
People
was
are so fucking stupid.
There was a period of time when he claimed mental instability.
No, eat a dick. No, you're fucking fine.
T-shirt!
No, you're fine. You knew exactly what you were fucking doing. You put her body into a fucking tub
Mm-hmm.
and lit her on fucking fire. You knew what you were doing.
You 100% knew what you're doing. It gets worse.
Oh my god, how?
There's more going on. In his initial statements, Jeremy claimed that on the day of the murder, he was at the Nichols' home. He was at the Nichols' home, and that they had shared methamphetamines before having sex. Him and Lisa doing a line.
Oh my god.
Bull fucking shit. Why'd you kill her if you're?
Oh my god.
According to him, at some point, Lisa complained of chest pains, then began suffering from cramps, and died in the bathroom shortly afterwards. Cramps are killing her, you dumb fuck.
This absolute awful piece of garbage. Oh my god.
Jeremy insisted that he was stressed out from her death, causing him to shoot her 3 times in the head and set her body on fire.
You know what I do when I'm stressed? I drink wine and put a fucking popsicle in it.
Yes!
I was stressed. Eat a fucking dick.
Stressed
Oh god, does he die?
The anxiety. Huh?
Does he die?
I can't spoil the story.
Okay, sorry.
Okay. On November 4th, so this is 2 months later, Jeremy changed his story again, this time claiming that he had broken into her house and attempted to sexually assault her at gunpoint, but was unable to sustain an erection. Because of this, he instead threw a towel over Nichols' head and shot her. So, because you can't get your dick up, you're gonna kill somebody?
What? What?
He could not sustain an erection, put a towel over her head, and shot her.
Oh, this little dick bitch boy.
In early January 2005, he changed his story yet again, this time claiming that he had killed her accidentally. In this version, he claimed that Lisa had tried to flee and fought with him, causing him to threaten to shoot her in an attempt to calm her down. However, he accidentally discharged the gun and did kill her, causing him to panic and set her body on fire.
So were you high? Were you stressed? What the fuck?
Are you suffering from erectile dysfunction? What's going on? At around this time that he's saying that she was running away and he shot her, Jeremy made several phone calls while in the county jail, calling his mother, friends, acquaintances, and his quote-unquote roommate, Vicki Freeman. After locating all these individuals, investigators questioned them all in order to obtain information about Jeremy. So in her interview with Vicki Freeman, Jeremy's 13-year older than him roommate, where they were doing the horizontal tango, she unexpectedly stated her belief that Jeremy was responsible for the murder of 16-year-old Amanda Greenwell, a next-door neighbor of theirs, while they were living in Douglasville, Georgia. So the 16-year-old...
So she just blurted that shit out?
Just all of a sudden in an interview was like, I bet he did do it because I think he killed the 16-year-old girl that used to live next to us.
Oh my god. See something, say something. Here, feel, I don't give a fuck. Say something. I am cussing a lot in this episode.
I feel like you're doing a lot of cussing.
Oh well.
It's fine. Yeah, so she thought that he murdered the 16-year-old that lived next door. Amanda Ann Greenwell went missing on March 12, 2004, and her body was found on March 21st. So, back in March 2004, that was whenever he did one of his petty crimes. I think that's whenever he had possession of methamphetamines.
Mm-hmm.
Spent 3 months in jail. Whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever her body was found on March 21st, she had been strangled and stabbed several times with a knife. Her father, Rick, could not recall Jeremy, but did recall, Vicky, saying that he had talked with her on several occasions. So I think Vicky had like kind of befriended this 16-year-old that lived next door. Maybe not befriended is the right word. Had a decent relationship with her. Okay.
With the 16-year-old?
Yes.
And you're how old?
She's probably like 40 at this point. No.
Why?
No, yeah, she's been 40.
Why are you? Okay. Mm-hmm.
Different times. Jeremy did not admit his involvement in Greenwell's murder, but unexpectedly confessed to committing 20 additional murders across 5 states over a 12-year period that he was never caught for.
Wait, what? Accidentally?
Unexpectedly.
Oh, unexpectedly. I thought you said accidentally confessed. How the fuck? I was like, how do you
accidentally confess?
Oh, God.
But it's the fact that he did
20
murders, 12 years, 5 states.
Is there evidence?
Never caught. There is.
Oh.
In 8 of these cases, he was unable to recall the name of his victims or where exactly he had dumped their bodies, claiming that 5 of them were prostitutes from Atlanta and the remaining were also prostitutes from Mobile, Alabama. Sex workers, whose bodies he would have dumped in swamps. In regard to the remaining murders, he recounted details known only to investigators. One of these confessed murders was that of Jennifer Judd, his high school friend's wife, whenever he stabbed her multiple times and raped her post-mortem. My thing is, I still feel so bad for Justin. They had been married for 2 days, and she's murdered.
2 days?
You didn't catch that?
No.
Earlier? Yeah, they were married for 2 days.
Not only that, but like that your best friend also did that. Poor guy.
But
oh my gosh.
Jeremy was already a suspect from that case from 1992. He was just never charged with anything.
Yeah.
So according to Jeremy's testimony, on February 21st, 1996, in Delaware County, Oklahoma, he broke into the trailer of 38-year-old Danny Oakley, where he assaulted him and his roommate, a 41-year-old Doris Harris. I don't know whether you can say roommate. Like, it's your sexual partner. Whatever.
Yeah.
Doris Harris. In the attack, Jeremy robbed them and shot them to death, then set the trailer on fire. In a follow-up investigation, local resident Denny Ray Honeycutt was arrested in Miami as he was found to be driving Oakley's vehicle. When examining the car, investigators found fingerprints that belonged to the murdered couple, Honeycutt and some other unknown individual. Honeycutt insisted that he was innocent, providing an alibi. It was eventually confirmed and ruled out as a suspect, but he was in prison on a drug charge. So after Jeremy's confession, the Miami Police Department reopened the investigation in an effort to prove his culpability in the murders, examined his fingerprints found in Oakley's car. However, they were not a match to Jeremy's, so Honeycutt was interviewed again, but refused to cooperate with authorities and died in 2006. Jones met 19-year-old Justin D. Hutchinson's in Pitcher, Oklahoma. He supposedly bought drugs from Justin. So then, on September 11th, Justin and Jeremy went to a local bar and drank a lot of motherfucking alcohol. Then Jeremy started intentionally injecting Hutchins with excessive amounts of methamphetamine.
Intentionally.
But it had an unspecified chemical in it. Hutchins, or Justin, died shortly after from an overdose. On December 29th, 1999, Jeremy, according to investigators, committed a quadruple murder in Welch. He admitted to entering the home of 40-year-old Danny Freeman, who lived with his wife Kathy and their daughter 16-year-old Ashley Freeman, who currently were being visited by her friend, a 16-year-old Laura Bible, to celebrate Ashley's birthday party. So, like, Sweet 16.
So this guy had, like, no motive.
None. Every murder was completely random.
And
none were alike. There wasn't a pattern with him. I think it was just whatever was available to him.
Jeez.
So Jeremy claimed that after he'd entered the house, he shot the spouses in the head at close range, set fire to the house, and then forced the teenagers into his car at gunpoint. He then supposedly drove them to a forest area near the border with Kansas, where he raped and shot them each.
Jesus.
Then dumped their bodies in an abandoned mine. When asked for a motive, he claimed that he was an acquaintance of Danny Freeman and wanted to kill him because the former had not paid him on time for a methamphetamine deal. Jeremy described in detail the layout of the Freeman's house, including the exact location of the mailbox, which is strange.
I know.
During his interrogation, he indicated on a map the location of the mine where he had dumped Ashley Freeman and Laura Bible's remains. But their bodies were never found, and this cast doubt on his testimony. Investigators should not rule out the possibility that he may have learned details about the case by watching television, as a story about the murders and the missing girls was shown on an episode of America's Most Wanted. A number of relatives of the victims also questioned the veracity of his admissions. So that one is still undecided.
Yeah.
Jeremy also confessed to the murder of Tina Mayberry, 38, who was attacked after leaving a Halloween party on October 31st, 2002, at a bar in Douglasville, Georgia. He claimed to have met a woman at a bar who was dressed as Betty Boop. After he managed to convince her to leave the bar, he assaulted her and then stabbed her several times in the chest and stomach. Left with bleeding wounds, Mayberry went back to the bar where customers called the police. She was taken to the hospital where she died from blood loss.
Oh no, that gave me hope.
Yeah.
Wow.
Police were unable to locate any witnesses or identify the killer, as Mayberry was unable to provide a description of her assailant before succumbing to her injuries. Which is horrible. After Jeremy's arrest, the bar owner and staff identified him as a regular customer at the establishment at the time of Mayberry's murder.
Oh, he did it.
110%.
Yeah, he did it.
Jeremy also claimed that in early January 2004, he met 46-year-old prostitute Catherine Collins in New Orleans, Louisiana, after which he raped, stabbed, and bludgeoned her with a tire iron. Yeah. Catherine was reported missing on January 10th, but her body was found on February 14th on a lawn about a block away from the port of New Orleans. So that one, when I was doing this research, that one stuck with me because I was like, she was murdered. And then a month later, her body shows up on somebody's lawn, like their front fucking yard, just all of a sudden.
Oh, it was a month later? I didn't catch that.
She died,
Uh-huh.
like probably January 9th. Reported missing January 10th. Body found February 14th.
On a lawn. So, like, somebody would have seen that.
Somebody's
if, like,
front yard or something.
I wonder if he kept her.
Dude,
I don't know where he would have.
Where would he keep her, and what would he have been doing? Not a fucking clue.
But we do know he's into
postmortem activities.
Stuff, yeah.
So
there's a word for that.
Necrophilia.
Necrophilia, there you go.
Yep. She remained unidentified until after Jeremy's arrest, where biological traces belonging to the supposed perpetrator were found in her body, and DNA samples from Jeremy were taken to check his involvement in the crime. Jeremy's victim, according to him, was 38-year-old Patrice Andres, who was murdered on April 15, 2004, in Cumming, Georgia. The woman was the owner of a small beauty salon called Tamber's Trim and Tran.
Oh,
that's different. And disappeared on the morning of April 15th. One of her clients showed up at the salon around 12 p.m. and found the salon empty. After Patrice failed to show up and did not return any of the phone calls, the customer called the police. In the subsequent search, police officers found her purse, personal items, food in the microwave, and her car, which was in the parking lot next to the salon without any sign of forced entry.
Food in the microwave.
Yeah.
That part's fucking crazy.
Like,
you're just gonna go make your lunch. Like,
snatched.
You don't ever think about that stuff either, though.
You don't.
Like, when's the last time you're gonna use your microwave? You know?
Now.
What?
For her, it was then.
Oh,
now.
Yeah.
When questioned, Jeremy stated that he entered Patrice's salon to ask for directions. While talking to her, he learned that she was all alone, after which he threatened her with a knife and forced her to give him money from the cash register, leaving the building and get into his car. Fucking liar. In support of his words, Jeremy drew on a paper a plan of the location of the door and windows in the salon building, as well as the location on the street where the parking lot and car were located. Jeremy claimed that he drove the woman to a wooded area about 65 miles from the abduction site where he raped her and then stabbed her to death.
Ugh.
He insisted that he had dumped Patrice's body in a creek and drew a map for investigators, but as the body was not found, his confession's credibility was then again questioned. So, like, I don't know if he's getting some kind of, like, conscience. Because first he says he had nothing to do with it, he should ask him for directions, and then he's like, oh no, wait, I did kill her and rape her. Here's where she should be. And he's done this with the last 3 murders. But I don't know.
I mean, clearly something's fucking wrong with him.
Oh, 110%.
So I wouldn't put it past him if he was trying to take credit for other things.
Mm-hmm. In the end, despite his many confessions, Jeremy was charged with only 3 murders. 3 out of 20. In late 2004, he was charged with the murders of Lisa Marie Nichols, Amanda Greenwell, and in late 2005 with the murder of Catherine Collins. High-ranking police officers from the 3 states organized a meeting and formed a plan to prosecute Jeremy, where it was decided that he'd be extradited to Alabama first, then to Louisiana, and then Georgia for their respective cases. Jeremy's trial was scheduled to begin on August 15, 2005, but was postponed due to a motion by his attorneys that requested that he undergo a mental evaluation.
Oh my
first.
god. Oh my god. Yeah, we know. We get it. He's a psychopath.
Like, be so fucking for real. The examination concluded that although he had mental impairments, he was nonetheless sane and able to stand trial.
Thank you.
Shortly before the trial began, representatives from the FBI issued a formal apology to the relatives of Lisa Marie Nichols and other potential victims for the glitch that allowed for his release. Do you remember there was a glitch in the system when his fingerprints were being scanned?
Yes.
And he was identified?
Okay, thanks for the apology, but like...
That didn't fucking help the
No.
17 other murders that he did, ma'am.
And that was a span of how many years?
12 years.
Mm-hmm.
Jeremy's trial... Oh, excuse me. The trial officially began October 19th and lasted 1 week. The main evidence for the prosecution was Jeremy's confession and fingerprints found on the beer can from whenever he killed Lisa Marie, the testimony of Scooter Coleman, the handgun, and the DNA results that determined blood stains found on Jeremy's clothes belonged to Lisa Marie Nichols. At said trial, Jeremy recanted all of his confessions but was nonetheless found guilty by a jury verdict for murdering Lisa Marie. The Mobile County Prosecutor's Office sought the death penalty, while his attorney sought a life term without parole because he was intoxicated and mentally impaired at the time of the murder.
He was also stressed and high.
He was a little stressed. I had to shoot you 3 times. The court found that the mitigating factors were insufficient, and on December 1st, 2005, Jeremy was sentenced to death. After the convictions, charges were dropped in the Greenwell and Collins case due to lack of evidence to a secure conviction. So, he's dying only for Lisa Marie Nichols' case.
Not the other 2.
Correct.
Which case was dropped?
Catherine Collins. She was a 38-year-old. And Amanda Greenwell, the
Why
16-year-old
were they
neighbor.
dropped?
The lack of credibility in his confessions. Because these were 2 very televised cases that they couldn't find those 2 bodies. So they felt like he was taking credit for a murder he didn't commit, but he most likely did commit them. So after his conviction, Jeremy was transferred to the Holman Correctional Facility in Atmore, where he remained on the state's death row. In the late 2000s, his attorney filed an appeal to overrun his death sentence, with the motion succeeding in doing so in 2010. He was later resentenced to death, and as of May 2023, he remains incarcerated on death row. Jeremy's culpability in other murders since his conviction has been questioned and challenged by many. Jeremy himself has insisted that he was solely responsible for Lisa Marie Nichols' murder and that he made the false confession so that he could be provided with better conditions at the county jail. His attorney, Habib Yazadi, supported these claims, arguing that his clients had taken advantage of the media attention and perjured himself in order to obtain privileges, such as more and longer phone calls, as well as better food. Which I don't fucking understand how him confessing more murders gets him better food, but whatever. He was described as a skillful manipulator with a high enough IQ that under different circumstances would have benefited him greatly in various walks of life. Vicky Freeman, the lady that's 13 years older than him, and his roommate, gave Jeremy an alibi for at least 2 of the murders. She claimed that she claimed that he was with her in Douglasville the night Catherine Collins was murdered in New Orleans. This is the prostitute. And that he was working near Douglasville when Patrice Andres vanished. She's the salon owner. So this dumb bitch is helping him out.
Where's this stupid bitch at now? I'd really like to talk to her. Just a couple words.
Let's have a conversation.
Let's sit down for a second.
She reminds me of that lady in the Ted Bundy case.
Oh, fuck. Yes.
I can't remember her name.
Carol Ann.
Carol Ann was the friend.
I don't know if they were married or not, but they had Rose Bundy.
That's terrifying.
Yeah, I wonder what she's up to.
What are you doing now, babe?
But yes, she gives Carol Ann
vibes for
energy,
sure.
Yes.
She's trying to help out her psycho killer. Psycho killer. Pardon me. Patrice's body was found later found in December 2005 behind a Baptist church about 10 miles from where she was abducted, casting further doubt on Jeremy's confession. His guilt in Catherine's case was also considered questionable, as he was unable to provide any specific details about the geographic data where her body was found.
Confused. So did he do it or did he not do it?
I feel like he did it, but at this point he didn't want to dig his grave deeper. Like, he's gonna admit it at first, and then he's like, "Oh shit, they're actually gonna kill me. I didn't do it. I'm gonna act like a stupid bitch and say I don't know where her body was at." So, the result of the DNA test also showed discrepancies between Jeremy's genotype and that of the killer. But that just could have been shitty technology.
It was a system.
In 2005. Another glitch. Jeremy also completely recanted his statements in regards to the Freeman murders. So whenever he murdered the mom, dad, and 2 16-year-olds, with doubts remaining about his involvement for over 15 years. This was further exasperated when Tommy Lynn Sells, another murderer who claimed to be a serial killer, also confessed to some of the crimes Jeremy supposedly committed. Jeremy was officially ruled out as a suspect in 2018 when a 66-year-old Ronnie Dean Busick was arrested. So, Ronnie Dean Busick is the one that killed the Freeman family. I don't believe it, but whatever. He, along with Warren Welch and David Pennington, who were deceased, were determined to be the true perpetrators. So again, too many people are taking responsibility for these murders. And I don't know if it's the time.
These are people's lives. Not only is it just the victims themselves, this is also their fucking families.
Yeah.
I will never understand people that.
I don't know why so many different people were taking ownership of the murders.
And why would you?
What are you getting out of it?
What do you want? Fame? You want to be known as a murderer?
Fuck if I know.
You want to be known for? Okay. I could go on and on about that.
So, again, he was only convicted of Lisa Marie Nichols' murder, and he is still on death row to this day. So yeah, that is Jeremy Bryan Jones, aka John Paul Chapman, aka piece of shit. That was a long one. Sorry, guys.
This is when I wish I could be a time traveler and go see. I mean, obviously, I don't want to go witness a murder, but for the purpose of who the fuck did it, you know?
Yeah. Was it really you who did this?
And it's not even just for my own curiosity. It's literally just because it pisses me off that people do this to the families.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, they just lost somebody. Obviously, I feel for those people that died, but I'm like, the family still has to live with that shit every single day, and you have so many people toying around with who could be the killer.
Like, the family thinks that they're gonna have some closure because this person's admitting to it, and it's like, oh no,
Oh, just kidding.
Joe Schmo over here did it too.
Yeah. And then making them like have to relive everything over and over again.
Yep.
That was a good story, Bailey. It really pissed me off, but that was a really good story.
Thanks. Sorry, I'm a little snotty. Hopefully, y'all don't mind my sniffles every 5 seconds.
You didn't sound stuffy.
Okay, great.
I wonder what caused your stuffiness. Because it really did just happen out of nowhere.
It really just all of a sudden.
Okay.
Well, guys, don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe. Please watch our social media for updates.
Yes. I will have our socials linked in the description so that way everybody could see them.
Make it a little easier so people are stay updated.
I had a lot of people at work pissed off at me. Sorry, guys.
Like, I have a life.
Um,
Okay, well, thanks again. We'll see y'all next week. Stay safe in the graveyard. Bye, guys.
Bye.